While many protesters have used guerrilla tactics like chaining themselves to construction equipment, assaulting pipeline workers, living in trees on pipeline easements, and even starting fires and spreading spoiled meat to attract wild animals, some activists are looking to expand the scale of their efforts. As the Keep It in the Ground movement expands its tactics, protesters are now calling on banks to cut funding for much-needed energy infrastructure projects. A couple protesters took their efforts to new heights when they hung a banner from the rafters at a Minnesota Vikings game in opposition to the Dakota Access Pipeline, calling on U.S. Bank to cut funding. Others have stormed bank lobbies or stopped customers outside while protesting, from Virginia to California to Washington to Massachusetts. In extreme cases, banks have been forced to close as a result of overwhelming protests. And if banks choose not to cut off funding from these projects, activists have started encouraging people to move their money to public banks. While the right to protest is a critical bulwark of American democracy, tortious interference is not. As legal experts argue in a report released earlier this year, activists have crossed the line from peaceful, acceptable protests to sabotaging pipelines and their funding. The authors of the report argue, should protesters achieve their goal of banks breaching existing contractual obligations with pipeline developers, tort law is available for holding these fringe activists accountable for interfering with existing contracts. As the protest tactics continue to ramp up, Gain Fact Checker will work to address misinformation and correct the record. To learn more, visit gainfactchecker.org.